if it would happen, for example, 5, 6 years ago, I would drive to his house, throw a brick to his window, and then even when the door was open, and beat the out of him on this couch. But I became a better person because, first of all, it's not intelligent. It's
Yeah.
driven by my ego. And what do I win with that? I mean, it's going to be the best moments of my life for a short period of time, but then afterwards you pay the price. It's not worth it, man.
Hey guys, today's video came about in an interesting way. So, in a weird way, I almost have to thank AJ Von Bacher because he has a way to piss people off so much that I end up getting those people on the channel and interviewing them. One such guy is Michael Mulder from Urban Combatives Netherlands, and he's going to explain like the whole history behind him and AJ. So this video, by the way, it's not to like trash or attack AJ, but he needed to get some stuff off of his chest because it was either that or something else, which wouldn't be the smartest option due to like legal reasons. Good for AJ that he went this route instead too. But a lot of this video, we're really going to talk about like urban combatives because this is like really cool stuff. Great, real self-defense type things. Going to learn a lot from this video. If you want more, make sure to check out his YouTube channel, check out his Instagram. Want to go further than that, check out his online courses. I'll link that all in the description below. There's another thing I want to say too in this video. So if you watched my last video, it was exposing the most delusional man on the planet, and this guy AJ, he's just gone like way too far, right? Where I had to basically publicly disassociate from him. Now, I will say this. So I did have him on the channel in the past, and he spewed and talked and disrespected people like Michael Jai White and Chris Van Damme. Not Jean-Claude Van Damme, because at the time he wasn't a Jean-Claude Van Damme hater, though I wouldn't have put that on the channel anyway. But that brings me to the point, like, why did I put this stuff on what that he said about, like, Michael Jai White and Chris Van Damme? See, at the time, I didn't really think too much of it. Like, I found it kind of comical in a way, especially with what he said about Michael Jai White, because, like, it was so ridiculous that you know, like, he could beat Michael Jai White with one kick. Like, I didn't even take it serious. I thought it was more funny than anything. But looking back now, it's like some of the other stuff he said, especially about like Chris Van Damme, it's like, yeah, that's pretty damn disrespectful. And even though I didn't say it myself, I did allow it on my channel. So I do want to take a moment. I want to publicly apologize to Michael Jai White and his fans that I had AJ on there saying that stuff. And then also Chris Van Damme. Because it's not fair of what AJ said. Now, the funny, weird thing is that there's always a silver lining, and something did good come about it, because I had Chris Van Damme on the channel in a series of interviews, and this guy is like the most well-spoken, intelligent guy. People, if you read the comments, people were just like, wow. You know, so Van Damme and Gladys, Van Damme's wife, raised such an amazing guy, and, you know, I'm glad Chris got to share his unique perspective, basically growing up being a Van Damme. So really cool videos. Check those out if you haven't seen them. But basically, I'm man enough to admit my mistakes. Now, I may make more mistakes in the future on the channel, right? That's how we grow. So this is a way to kind of redeem myself. And I was before telling people check out AJ's channel, which, whatever, man. If you want negativity, maybe you'll be entertained by that stuff. But if you want like real self-defense stuff about building people up, spreading positivity, then check out Michael Mulder's channel, Urban Combatives Netherlands. So this is a way to redeem myself, and with the apology to Michael Jai White and his fans, Chris Van Damme, etc. Now, me and AJ are like not cool at all, if you couldn't guess. I will say this though, now if he's man enough to apologize to me in a video because he basically said I lacked integrity and I'm lying to people, but not only apologize to me, like I want him to apologize to Michael Jai White, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Chris Van Damme, and Michael Mulder from Urban Combatives Netherlands. Now, if he apologizes to all of us, I'll be his friend again. He probably doesn't give a shit, but it'll make him look good because there's hope that he could lessen his extreme narcissistic personality disorder. It'll actually be very nice, and I would love to see him put out more positive content because I think he could have something of value to share if he wasn't so hateful. So anyway, the odds of that happening are probably less than getting a true sequel to Bloodsport, but hey, there's hope, and I'm all about positivity. So I'll throw that out there, man, just in case he does want to maybe reflect and publicly apologize. With all that said, if you like this kind of content, please help support the channel by hitting the like button, subscribing, sharing the video. And one last thing, because he does continue to talk so much crap about me, like in the comments section on his channel, I threw a couple shots at him in this video, but you know.
Don't push it, I'll give you a war you won't believe.
I had to let it out like a purge. It's like I got all out of my system now. So anyway, Mike Mulder's going to get some stuff out of his system too.
Absolutely love your channel.
Oh, thanks.
Really good stuff.
Appreciate
I really
it.
look back to it and I go back to my my childhood. So that's a good thing, right? That's a positive vibe.
Dude, that's what people get. So many people told me that. That's what they get from the channel. And that's what I get by talking about that. Fondly remembering like growing up watching this stuff all the time, like in the 90s and stuff, doing martial arts, you know, for the first time.
That's where it all started for me, my martial journey, you know. When I was 9, 10, 11, 12 and up, this triggered me to study martial arts and to find my way, you know. As a boy, this is still, I'm living my dream every time I train, you know. That's a little bit what I have, and you induce that same feeling every time you put something up. So it's really good, very good. I totally understand you have 50,000 subs. It's cool.
Yeah,
Really
no, it's
positive.
growing, man, because there's like it's a brotherhood, basically. The guys that grew up with like the
Yeah.
Van Dams and the Stallones, and then got into working out and the martial arts. It's like a brotherhood, man.
Oh, real men right now. Yeah, they the old generation of men instead of the soy milk drinking people.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I still believe that it's the old generation of masculine men, you know.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Now, the funny thing is, at one point, when I first met the guy we're about to talk about, and why at one point me and him were even friends, is because he was also part of the Brotherhood. He was a
Yeah.
huge Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, and that's how we connected. I found out he was like a lifelong martial artist, and I was too. So we had a lot of things to talk about. Now, with that said, I did notice there was a bit of narcissism early on, which, you know, whatever it is, what it is. A lot of people who train or do whatever, they get like a little bit of an ego. It's like nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But it's gotten so progressively worse over time, and he's become so disrespectful. And there's like a deep-seated issue with him, wrong with him psychologically. And this, he even like basically disrespects you and what you do, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, listen, normally I don't care about the opinion of sheep, you know, because I know myself. My journey is it has martial arts in it, but it's based on combatives. There's every principle concept that works on the real fight stress. Now, you have to understand that we bring it down to an absolute basic toolbox with hard skills that is only gross motor. And what you want to do in this is you want to keep it simple, because we are not training a martial art. I'm teaching people self-protection. How can I survive an altercation on the street? Plus, we battle test everything to the core. So a lot of fine motor skill and complex motor skill, for example, boxing combinations, high kicks, but it's all great and it has all a martial base and it's all nothing negative about it. But in the realms of real violence, when you have to deal with somebody close range, conversation range, or in your face range, that is where real violence starts. A lot of stuff drops off, especially kicking. If you have kicking range on the street, you can run. We fight only for self-preservation, not for ego. Fuck that. And because violence is only negative in a physical sense, in an emotional sense, and also in a juridical sense. The times that I dealt with violence, and that's a lot of time, it's not to brag about it, but it's just to show you that I understand experience. It was negative. Every fight I won cost me something. It cost me my knuckle, it's gone. It cost me my tendon, it's gone. My bicep ripped off the bone. I have injury in my nose broke, injury on my knee, hip, ankle. It's all negative. And I won that fight, but you never fight, or you never win a fight. You always need to avoid and escape and de-escalate. And the same individual we're going to talk about, he thinks that when I say I do not fight for ego, I only fight for self-preservation, he thinks that I do that because I'm afraid to fight. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been there a lot of times in my private life and in security life, because I'm a bouncer myself, but a real one.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have a small army of bouncers that can vow for me, that saw me do it, or they saw the footage, or they've been there. Like that's also a brotherhood, because if you fight back to back and you need to fight for your life now becomes different. And individuals like what we're going to talk about, I know him from security and I did my research, and it's the type of guy we put next to a toilet. No disrespect. I respect everybody in the working field of security, but he was never on the position that we were, like in the heat of the moment. You can see that because he's not humble at all. And I'm humble to the core. And last weekend I was in the UK, for example, because I'm teaching all over Europe, and I was visiting my mentor. And he's a hard man. You know, he was one of the leaders of the Millwall hooligan. He was a gang member, but also he grew up, and now he's the founder of Urban Combatives. It's Lee Morrison. He's such a nice, humble warrior from the inside, trained all his life. And he brought us to one of the boxing gyms because my lady loves to do private training. And there is this awesome boxing trainer. Again, very humble dude, champion from England. You know, he has so much knowledge. Then I meet a bare knuckle fighter. We shake hands. Very strong individual you don't want to mess with. And again, very humble dude. I have people I train all over Europe in the seminar circuit, or I teach them the same story. The capable people are humble to the core. I have one guy from the UK. He's traveling to Amsterdam for training, so I pick him up in the afternoon. We train 4 or 5 hours, and then he flies back to England. So that's pure dedication for me. He trained with Bas Rutten. He trained with Machados. He trained with the Gracies. He was a cornerman in the UFC. Such a capable individual. Also a bouncer, by the way. And we had the same conversation. And on my way back, he said this to me. He said, "You're such a good trainer." And I feel humble. Don't get me wrong. It's not to show how cool I am. But he said, "You know what is the biggest asset you have? Not only your skill set or your teaching abilities, but you're so humble. We do not have to brag about cool stories and I did this and I did. It's good. We are good with each other. There's no need to prove because we've been there more than once in real event, or we battle tested it to the core." And that's why maybe I come across a little bit arrogant and confident. But that stepping out of your comfort zone and being there, yeah, for me, I don't care about what he's saying, man. He's such a negative individual, but he is crossing the line too many times now. He's lying on, and the same with you. He attacked your integrity.
Oh yeah, that's insulting
video.
because he used to be a friend. It's like he just says, "Oh, this guy's knowingly lying to people." It's like, no, I'm not. You wouldn't believe how many people reached out to me saying, "That has helped my stretching. I'm more flexible." It's like, exactly. That's why I put it out there, because I want to help people, and it helped me. I wish somebody told me that 20 years ago, you know?
That's
so
right,
I'm trying to save people time. One more thing I want to comment on as far as humbleness, people who are humble get better because they're humble. They know they're not like this supreme, perfect, best fighter, best martial artist in the world like AJ thinks. It's like, you're not going to get better if you think you're the best, because you're already deluded. It's like, how can you get better? There's always more to learn. There's always ways to get better. Being humble is what a martial artist needs.
100%. I always live by this rule. I say to sometimes a teacher, but always the student. Until I die, I will. Anybody can teach me something. So because I'm starting to get known now in the world of self-protection, and people start to tag me all the time, also in funny clips when I see that it's absolute rubbish, like bullshit what they teach. I do not bash them. I say seems legit as a joke. You know, even the shittiest clip or the shittiest individual can teach me something. He can teach me how not to do it. Yeah, but I will never bash people on the internet. And also the keyboard warriors and the negative people. And one of them is, unfortunately, the guy we talk about today. It's us insecurity, man. Why you drag somebody down? I don't need to prove anything. But now, when you call me a liar, that's the reason I'm in your video, because now you're crossing my line, because my whole life is dedicated to finding the ultimate truth, what works in real fight stress. You know why? Because I was fighting for my life more than once, and I cannot even count it on 2 hands. And this I want to avoid at all costs, and also for my students of self-protection. Because I was good in I'm pretty good in violence, and that's a negative thing, right? But I found my way of building people up with this. So I do something positive, what I'm doing. I refuse to take this into the negative light. Now, if you fuck with me and you put me in the corner, now it's becoming a different story, my friend. Sure. Now I will do everything necessary to end you, you know, but that's only when my life is at stake. I don't care about my ego. Fuck, you can piss on me all day, but don't call me a liar, man, because that's what he did. Now you're crossing the line, and now there will be a consequence of that. I don't like it.
Hey,
Be honest.
Michael, like, when was your first interaction with this guy? Like, how'd you even find out about him anyway? Because it's not like anybody really knows who he is. I mean, some people seen him on my
No,
channel, but aside from that,
exactly. No, that's it. Because first of all, the reason that I reached out to you, and I don't like to talk behind people's back, but he blocked me on every channel. And I saw you, and even if I don't know you, I have people knowledge. A good bouncer has people skills, and I always trust my instinct. And I saw an honest dude doing something he loves, and I reached out to you for that reason. I would never do it, but I said, be careful with him because he's not who he says he is.
mm-hmm.
And that was purely to protect your integrity because this guy is the fake as it possibly can. What happened before I had an altercation or when I met him online, I was training with my missus, and I was still in the beginning of our relationship. So we put some content down there because I like to show that I train women also. And it's empowering women, builds them up, And the women that train with me are actually really capable chicks now. And I'm very proud
I'm
of that.
sure they can. I'm sure every single one of them could kick AJ's ass. Like, I have no doubt whatsoever.
In a heartbeat. I don't want to be arrogant, but but he started to bash her, and then all of a sudden she opens her Facebook, and she has this hidden inbox. It happens all the time, especially because my lady, I think she's a beautiful lady, but then they got this hidden inbox all the time, and she said, "Look at this." She was really shocked, and she never replied on him, and he was bashing us all the way. He calls me a beta male. You should train with me, beta.
He called me that too in his comment. It's like, he's the ultimate beta, it's annoying.
I mean, if you have a little bit, I'm not, it's fine if you think like that, it's good. But he dragged me down. And then at one point, because I'm not really stupid, I'm not going to call or put out there that I'm going to knock you the fuck out because that's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to reach out to him. So what is your problem? And then he reacted on one of I think I had a seminar out or something. And then he was like, I will come to this seminar and I will expose you. And then I said, please do, my friend, please. And I gave him the address. I said, please come. I will pay you money for it. Please come, show me. And maybe if you are a humble dude and you come, you show me how it's done. I will show you how would we do it. Maybe you can shake hands and now you're my
You guys
brother.
Can exchange knowledge. That's how it should be.
Yeah. But of course, what he did is block me. Then I had no entry. So what I was doing then, because I have issues, I know, but I have them under control now. So I start to call some people. I'm like, I want to know where this guy lives. And I know where he lives. And then at one point I said to myself, wait a minute, what are you teaching all the time? Do not fight for ego. Who is he? He's not relevant to you. Mm-hmm. I'm teaching all over Europe. I'm getting the word Urban Combatives out there because I want to build up people. Why should I take the risk of my ego and try to hurt him or visiting him? No, that's stupid behavior. So I stepped back. And then after year in, year out, he's bashing me. Also on his comments, he calls me a fake bouncer. He said I don't have the official license for it. I have all the papers. I was doing some checking yesterday with my lady, and it seems that in the database from the security, he has no license at all. So I don't know why you say it, maybe because he didn't have it himself. There's this one footage of him acting like he's standing on the door, and then a lady comes in. It's one of the latest clips he has, and then he has his hands in his pocket and he looks around like this. The lady is approaching here and he's not making contact with her. What a bouncer are you, man? Then I would say, good evening, how are you? Can I help you? I want to see how this lady is. Probably it's his own girlfriend filming it, and then he puts it online. But a real bouncer will stop you and say, good evening, everything fine? You look smooth tonight, and then you get them in. There is also footage of him with a body cam. Then he's talking to people and he only says, walk, keep on walking. And then he starts pushing. He has no people skill, no communication skill. And then on the end of this clip, he says, I just knocked out 3 people that day. Okay, where's the footage then?
Yeah, there is no footage, man. He always talks about his hard sparring. It's like, where's that footage? He even told me and some other guys I've heard, because I think this is just a comment out there, that he sparred Melvin Manoff. It's like, let's see that footage.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's funny you say this because yesterday somebody showed me one of my stress tests from Urban Combatives, and then he put it on his community and he was bashing me for like this piece of text. And I was doing my cardio this morning. I looked at this. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Come, I'll show you. Because our stress test to become an Urban Combatives instructor, it's one of the end phases of hard training. It's so incredible, realistic and brutal. It's not too, it's almost scary, because last time 3 people ended up in hospital. That's not the purpose of this drill. It's just how realistic we train. And I was one of the role players, and somebody smacked him a little bit too hard with the boxing gloves, because first what we do, we take an individual that is ready for it, and then we break him down in the way that he first has to become very tired. So first we make him do burpees, we make him do exercise, we make him do lift stuff, we spin him, and that's all to simulate fight stress. What is fight stress? Pain, fatigue, disorientation, confusion, and adrenaline. And you want to mimic this before you let him do the stress test, because in real life, if you end up in violence, it's never when you just had a sick pump in the gym, you feel good, you ate well, you sleep well, you're now ready, you warm up. It's always when you don't want it. Otherwise, you would not be victim selected in the first place. There's a lot of psychology behind this. I'm not going to annoy you. Maybe this is for a difficult video, but there's a lot of interesting stuff in this. But the point is, we make you on 30% of your capacity, and now we let you do the stress test. Now people are fighting, and they do not go to the ground easy. They are suited up, but what they do is they want to show you what you can do, not what they can do. Again, we pressure test you to the core, but we do not want to destroy you. That's silly. And then you don't build up people. But still, the stress test is very difficult, and nobody works with you. Everybody is resisting, yes. And they bash me in that stress test, and I don't care. Just come, show me how it's done. The last 2 times, people ended up in the hospital. Thankfully, they came out healthy. Nothing wrong with this, but I think nobody in Europe trains this serious and this hard, and it's not nice to see, and it's not nice to do. It's almost dark. But if you want to do this and you never had real violence in your life, now this comes very close to the realistic event. Now for me, it was different because I knew the real event, but it came very close. That said, it's not about me. That stress test is out there, so you can expect people to bash you on this, but it's all good. I just want to ask you, if you see that stress test, how would a high kick work in that situation? Because it's all about the kicks. And then because we said in this text that he's bashing me, yeah, I would kick everybody. What would I do if I would show them? I'll kick them all. Yeah, good luck kicking somebody knockout in this small of a corridor. Good luck in the toilet. Good luck when there's somebody else jumping on you. Good luck 2-on-1. This guy is so delusional. It's almost scary. It's scary.
It is very scary delusional. One thing I want to point out, and this is kind of funny, because he showed me that stress test because he is basically talking crap about you, and I was like, this stuff's good. This is like very similar to the Krav Maga stuff I do here. Like, I like this stuff. And then he got all pissed at me, and then I was trying to defend Krav Maga, knowing that he doesn't like you. I said, okay, whatever, take him out of it. I'm telling you, these techniques are good. And you know, oh, no, that stuff works. None of that stuff works. I'm like, I'm pretty goddamn sure the Israeli military is doing things that work, you know? Not like these movie kicks that could work. There's a time and place, but they're not doing that shit, you know? Like, very selectively you could use that stuff.
Yeah, but you think about it. Why it's not smart to stand on one leg kicking if there is always more than one you fight with and weapon. And on the street, I would want to have my balance. If I go to the floor, it's not a
you're screwed, man.
Kick the fuck out of you when you're on the floor. If you do not train for multiple subjects and weapons, you're not training for reality. Sorry, it is what it is. Also, the mindset, the aggression on the switch, and how cool can you stay under the dynamic that it's very difficult to stay cool. And that's why it's almost, we teach this aggression on switch to state manage my fight stress. Now, can you stay cognitive in the pre-fight? So there's an interview going, there's aggressive role play. You, of course, try to be, you try to de-escalate the situation. But if you cannot de-escalate, I'm teaching my student to hit first, but only if you cannot avoid an escape and de-escalate. If you hit first, boom, you want to grab him and continue. I'm not going to hit you and see, did this work out? No, it's going to be me, more and me, finished. And that's what he's not understanding, because he's bashing Urban Combatives into this pathetic videos. If you look at them, I cannot make sense of anything of that. And he doesn't understand what we're teaching. But if you don't understand, maybe you should shut the fuck up more, because it doesn't make sense. You don't know. I'm not teaching Taekwondo. I respect what he does, man. He has great kicks, and I wish I had that hip flexibility.
You may think so, and I will say they're not bad, but just because he tries to point out everybody's flaws and makes them look bad, I'm telling you, man, if you dissect those videos, like if I dissect those videos, I could find so many flaws, but I'm not trying to be mean and just, because that's the one thing that he has is pretty good, but it's not anywhere near the level he thinks it is, man. And that's what pisses me off when he's bashing Michael Jai White, where he's bashing Jean-Claude Van Damme, where he's bashing me. It's like, your kicks aren't that great, man. Like, yeah, they're better than the average person's, but it literally, like, even his profile in on his YouTube,
I saw it.
It literally says real quick, like,
I'm the best.
What does it say? He literally says, no YouTuber with my kicking skills, flexibility, speed, power. It's like, what? It's like, dude, I could find 100 guys on YouTube that have better kicking skills, flexibility, speed, and power. Spend 5 minutes on Instagram, objectively watch a couple people, and you will realize how not great your taekwondo is. Like, it's not bad, but come on, man, it's not elite level. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is why he won't get better is because he's not humble.
No, he's close-minded. And if you stop, you think you know it all, fuck, man, it goes downhill from there. And it's about time, because I will tell you this. He said to me also in this under my stress test, and that's all fine, but he's saying, like, he cannot fight, he has no proof. My whole phone is full of proof. I have a bunch of people that can vouch for me, but what is that telling? I'm not going to show it. I'm not proud of finance, man. Finance is negative. It cost me so much. I almost killed people. It's negative. And thank God this never happened, but it's dark. And I know he was never in a real good fight, because otherwise you would not be so egotistic all the time. You want to avoid it at all costs. Now, that said, that's the reason I still didn't meet him. But do not mistake, if he wants to fight with me, I fight him day and night. But he has to come to me, and I will show him my true colors. And then it's a different story, and you can film it on camera. But then I want to sign something that you're not going to cry in court if you still can write. Because I'm so sick of this individual, blah, blah, blah. Then come to me, my friend. You have a problem with me? Come to me and show me how it's done. Now you give me reason, because I would be extremely stupid if I'd search for him. Now I'm going to destroy this individual because he's this midget and I'm like this. It's unfair, and all of a sudden this happens, and then I have to go to court. No, I have way too much to lose. I have teaching to do. Yeah, you know? Exactly. I mean, come on, I have people to build up. But if you want it, I'm here for you, my friend. Please do me a favor, because it's 2 years of agony, and I will show you how it's done. That's how serious I am with him. And he calls me Michelle and Mulder to make fun of me. But I am not the one with the ponytail, my friend. So I want to make him my girlfriend if he wants. But then it's when he wants. And sorry to be like this. I'm not proud of this, but at one point he has to stop. I mean, what else? I
agree. Like, I'm not proud of putting the video out that I have to put out. But if we got to give credit where credit's due, this guy really, really knows how to get under somebody's skin. I mean, I'll give him credit for that, man, because I don't want to go on the attack either, but it's just like, okay, you crossed a goddamn line. And like you, he blocks my shit. Like, I will comment trying to provide clarity on some of the BS he's spewing on his lame ass videos, trying to provide clarity because he's saying misinformation, saying all this crap about me, but then he deletes my comments. So that's why I have to make the video.
I know. I reached out to him. I called, I know his address, but it's a 2-hour drive. I'm like, fuck me, dude, it's too far. And I know, because if I say something and I act smart, there's a consequence. I'm not only going to talk to you, there's a consequence of his behavior. If I see him now, because I know he also lives in Amsterdam, and Amsterdam is my area, that is different if I bump into him. But I'm not searching for him because it's negative energy. But I will not avoid. And another thing, this guy is also a dangerous individual, right? And he shows clips because people are sharing me. Because I was watching this with a group of guys that really know violence, and I showed this to them, and they were like laughing. We eat even chips and popcorn, and we laugh about it. It's kind of sad, but this guy is so delusional. It's incredible. But one of my friends said, "Come on, man, he's crossing the line. You have to do something about it." I'm like, "Yeah, time will come." So I did some extra phone calls, and he is literally the guy that was on the event standing on next to the toilet or next to an exit. But it's no disrespect, but I almost feel bad for him. I think he wants to be the head cool bouncer, but I mean, I showed you some photos, and
Yeah,
also
man, it's so pathetic and embarrassing. And he thinks he's
it
Dalton from
is.
Roadhouse, but the fact of the matter is he's not to put down any bouncers wherever they stand or what function
No.
they do, but basically he's that guy where it's like, well, we just kind of need an extra guy over here. Well, this guy can't really do anything. You just stand here, right, and take up some space because we need a body there. That's basically him.
Yeah, it is. And before this started, I forgot to tell you, before he started to attack my lady, because my lady is well known in the security also, at least in the Netherlands. And she was part of the Bouncer Federation, and he was part of the bounce. It's just a couple of bouncers. They founded this federation, and they're good people. You know, there's good people, and they're less. You know, every bouncer they can call himself bouncer is part of that. But there's a lot of old school men also, and I appreciate them for that. And they reached out to us, and one of them said, "Yo, I'm so sick of this guy." And now I found out he's disrespecting you guys also. So he threw him out of the Bouncer Federation, simply because this was not the first time. And then I saw one of my, because I have one footage, then I have to escort somebody out, and he's starting to fight, and I do my thing from Urban Combatives. So I grab him, knee him, snatch him on the floor, and then I escort him out. It looks explosive, and it is explosive, but I'm not damaging him. And then my colleague who called me at the time, that he could not get the guy out, that I need to help him. I saw a photo of this AJ with him. So I call him. I said, "Do you know this individual?" And he said, "Can you show me the photo?" And then I showed him that the photo on Facebook, on his Facebook. And then he said, "Oh, that guy. Oh my God, this guy's full of shit all the time." So he's known for that, you know. So, and that's why I reached out to you, because you gave him like a little bit of a pedestal, you know.
And I regret that, man.
If you
Like
don't know,
I
you don't
feel
know.
like I didn't know at the time, but I feel like I kind of like in a little responsible for like unleashing this virus, right? That I feel needs to be contained, which is why I'm doing these videos. It's like, oh man, I got to be really careful with who I put on the show.
You sure pick cool people to be friends with, Freddie.
Where'd you find this guy?
Come on, let's go. Good guy.
I mean, with your background, you're awesome. Urban Combatives Netherlands, you got great stuff. But man, like that guy, it's like, oh, it's so crazy. It's beyond delusional.
It is. And again, if you really understand real violence, then you want to avoid it. And look how many times he says in this video, I had a fight with this, and I almost had a fight with that. And he's very disrespectful towards women also. He's really condescending. Yeah, you have to ignore them and blah, blah. This guy's, I mean, come on, dude. What are you doing? Wake up. But I think he has a problem. And that's what I want to show you, by the way. He has this one clip, and then he shows that he has a knife. I'm like, yeah, why is that cool? I mean, it can only be used against you. The element of surprise is gone. Weapons are meant to be felt, not to be seen. If I would use a weapon, and I train weapon because I teach different objectives in my training, different people with different needs. It's very, very dark. How I would use a knife, it's not nice. I would never promote this. I would never show how cool I am with a knife. If you find out I had a knife, it's in you. And I don't, it's a level 10 threat. So it doesn't belong you bringing it outside, looking for a fight and showing on a clip that you gave a knife to your mother, and then shows in this pocket that he has one. I'm like, why are you doing that, man? You make violence, you glorify it. It's horrible, dude. Stop.
And even without weapons, there are legal repercussions. So even my Krav Maga instructor would share a story where like some guy was beating his girlfriend in public, which is disgusting. I can never respect a guy who hits a woman, but that's besides the point. But anyway, the crowd was like, "Oh, somebody help her! Somebody help her!" So he helped her, beat the shit out of the guy, which is good, right? Especially if you see a dude beating a woman in public. It's like, yeah, kick that dude's ass. Somebody beat that guy. But he still ended up spending thousands of dollars in court in legal fees. And he did get off because there were witnesses. I mean, he's smart, and he'll teach this. Like, you got to vocalize, like when you have this is a citizen's arrest, so people know you're not the bad guy. But, so that's how he got off in court. But he still spent thousands of dollars. So any physical damage, whatever aside, like there are still legal repercussions. And it's like, who wants to spend thousands of dollars I'm glad he saved the girl, but that sucks, man. So that's just another example why you got to avoid violence and fighting, man.
100%. I mean, when I broke my hand, I could not work. Yes, it was 5 military people, and it went out of hand. Me against 5. One didn't wake up. So I was in the police cell for one night, and now I was very nervous. I'm like, fuck, did I kill somebody? And it was not like kicking the head. It was just 1, 2, and maybe a kick, And it went fine, but then you're afraid of the juridical consequences. Now it's going to be bullshit. You have to go to court. And in the end, it ended up, well, it was 1 against 5. But then did I need to use violence in my private life or security life? Because I cannot avoid when I do security. Then I feel I'm not happy about that. I watch sometimes when there's footage, I watch back. What can I do better? What can I learn from this?
Oh, sure.
I would never put it on the internet. I would never put it in my YouTube videos and show like, look how cool I am. No, I'm not, dude. I wish I could do it with communication, but if that's not possible, then this comes out, and that's what it is.
You know
Isn't
what's
that cool?
crazy? Like, you would think any club or bar wherever he works, or any bouncer like him, and I hope there's very few. I'm pretty sure there's very, very few. What a liability for the establishment if somebody working there is fighting people. Like, that's such a liability.
I was Googling him, and then one article popped up. It was in this where he lives in this area, and then he was the bouncer there, and he kicked somebody because he likes to kick. And then the owner of that coffee shop, it was a coffee shop. There was a lady. She was not happy with this, and she literally told, he's only arrogant and he's only showing his ego. And long story short, they don't want him as a bouncer anymore at that specific place because the behavior he shows all the time. It's funny that you have this dog or this cat because I have this little terrorist here. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Quite the opposites.
Yeah, it is.
Extra hairy, no hair.
Yeah.
It's funny.
But I like it only on my dog like that. Huh?
Sure. Hey, let me ask you this, man. So Urban Combatives, it to me, like, it looks very similar to Krav Maga. Like, is it based in that at all or not?
Yeah, it originates from the World War II. It started there, my mentor Lee Morrison was heavily influenced by Jeff Thompson. Is one of the few from the UK that understood that martial arts is great, but you have to adapt it if you want to use it in the real fight, in the real event. It's a lot of stuff comes from the Fairburn curriculum, World War II, if I'm correct. I'm not very good in the historics of it, but it basically comes down to gross motor skill stuff that is battle tested to the core, and it's what the differentiates it from the Krav Maga is that it's less technical. Because Krav Maga, don't get me wrong, there's good Krav Maga and there's bad Krav Maga. Sure. And I'm a Krav Maga instructor under Ronnie, and he's a student of Branimir Tujan, and he's really good boxing, good wrestling, good disarms. But like everything in life, Krav Maga nowadays is one big commercial thing. Everybody wants to earn money with it, So it's too much technical rubbish that is very difficult to get out under real fight stress. Because what happens if your adrenaline hits the bloodstream, heart rate goes up, your cognitive part of your brain, that's the frontal part of our brain, is closing down. And your limbic system, that is the part of your brain where the emotions are and your instincts are, they take over. And because of that, fine motor skill and complex motor skill like trapping, boxing combinations, they will be gone. And in a split second in time, and we measured heart rates 200 and up, even in training and simulations. Wow. So between the 115 beats per minute and 145 beats per minute, your complex motor skill is at its best. But above 145 beats per minute, it starts to close down and you end up with gross motor skill only. And that's when the heart rate is induced by adrenaline. That's why you see real fights on YouTube, for example. It never looks so smooth. It never looks so difficult. But that said, if somebody in the pre-fight stage and there's an aggressive dialogue going, for example, a guy like AJ, if he can stay cool and cognitive, he can start to attack with a kick. Why not, if that's his thing? But We talk about, let's say I'm talking to you and then all of a sudden I get a sucker punch. Now you messed up your awareness. Now you go in this fight mode. Now you will see that nothing perfectly comes out anymore, especially when there was a buildup of adrenaline because of the aggressive dialogue. Now this can be a buildup of adrenaline. So somebody is aggressive, what the fuck you want? For example, if somebody talks to you and he makes short sentences, he said, yes, so, what, and that's a signal for us. When I hear this, when somebody is screaming to me and is aggressive, now I will drop him clinically. And why? Because I understand now that he has difficulty to make complete sentences. His cortex of his brain is closing down. His limbic system will take over. That's why he is not able to make full sentences. So ask yourself this. When I have tunnel vision, when I have a dry mouth, we call this a cotton mouth, when I have auditory exclusion, when I have shaking extremities, can I really do all the cool shit from the martial arts, or do I have to control that first? It's all adrenaline effects, what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, for example, why does my mouth dry out? Because your body is busy with fight or flight response. There is no need to digest food. That starts with saliva, right? Why is there tunnel vision? Because your brain says threat in front of you. It's flawed because it didn't take in consideration the sucker punch, but that's the reason you get tunnel vision. That's why Krav Maga teaches you to look around and to break tunnel vision. Why am I legs shaking and my hands shaking? That's also a reason it's very difficult to kick. That is because the bigger muscles, they demand for all the blood. So instead of shaking hands, that is also the reason your fine motor skill, hand-eye coordination will disappear. Now you need to understand that you can push and pull harder. You're more resilient to pain. So that's a different mindset than thinking like, oh, why am I such a pussy? Why am I shaking so much? You know, that's also the reason that if we kick in Urban Combatives, we kick you in the dick, or we give you a low kick when it's low profile and I want to use it as a takedown. Sure. I will not teach you to kick high, simply because on the street it's not flat. There is no mat on the street. There's piss, there's shit, there's needle, there's glass, there's curbs where you can trip over. Yes, you have tunnel vision, you have multiples, there's weapons, maybe multiples and weapons. How do you deal with that? There's no kick in the world that can prepare you for that. So we work on your mindset. We work on short, gross motor skill tools that work under fight stress with a switched on aggression, because nobody is fearful when angry. You can only be in one emotional state at a time. That's why when we make this guttural sound, we always hit with a guttural sound for two reasons. The first reason is, let's say I drop one clinically, and because of that sound, his friend now maybe drops out because of he's maybe intimidated.
Oh, yeah, psychological, sure.
Exactly, it's not 100%, but if he's coming right now, then you're at least in fight mode on a psychological level. But we also make this guttural sound because when I hit somebody like this, now I force myself to breathe in under real fight stress. Because the objective of this is, when adrenaline hits the bloodstream, you want to keep your heart rate low because you want to stay cognitive. You want to stay in this cool dynamic in the brain, you know? You don't want to let the adrenaline overrule. So it becomes chaos. And that's a good example I always use. If you look at Conor McGregor and Khabib, the two best fighters in the world, right? I really totally respect them both. And then they have this perfect match. And then after this, when Khabib wins, chaos starts. Everybody starts to hit everybody. Conor McGregor gets the hit from the side because of tunnel vision. He starts to hit back like that. Khabib is hitting everybody that moves. Where's the technical application right now, man? What did change is the intent and the emotion. The limbic system took over. Real raw emotion is what you saw. Big chaos is what you saw.
Yeah, that's a good example for sure.
In that dynamic, try to place your high kicks when there is more than one. And I'm not bashing any martial art. I respect them all. But for the real event, you have to filter, and it has to be driven by mindset and attitude. Aggression on a switch, not this egotistic play. And that's what I'm doing and teaching. The element of surprise, for example. I let my students to be victim if they cannot avoid, and all of a sudden they hit first. They keep on hitting until you sleep. So it doesn't matter how good you were. You never had the chance to fight back.
Sure.
So it was me, more me, finish. That's how the criminal would attack you in prison. If you're eating, all of a sudden they shank you in your neck and it's a non-stop attack. And before you know it, there's blood going out of you and it's the end of your story. It was him, more of him, finished. And we teach criminality. That's what it is. And then when he says to me on his videos, that's bullshit, they do this, he has No, it's almost cringing. I cannot
Yeah, it's
get.
very cringy, a lot of his videos and the things that he spews. Like basically his channel, in my opinion, is not to really like teach anybody anything. Though he did do a couple of videos which he was trying to, and I thought, okay, these are kind of cool, where he was going over like, oh, here's how to do this certain Van Damme jump kick. It's like, yeah, do that. That's pretty cool content. But the majority of his videos are more to like glorify himself and try to prove like that he's this supreme warrior, the greatest martial artist, the greatest bouncer, the top security specialist, which it's funny because some of the pictures you sent of him, it's just like, this guy's a freaking joke. This is like, you can't make this shit up. It's like, this is the guy saying that about himself. Nobody else is saying it because it shit ain't true, for one, but it's like, this guy, he does not look the part, he does not act the part, and he's basically not the part.
No,
he created a fictional character for himself, basically.
That's it. And I was really wondering why. You explain me a little bit with all the following going up. And I will say to everybody, look at the footage he's putting out. Look at the footage I'm putting out. Look at the footage you are putting out. Now ask yourself the question, what is negative and what is positive? You're not bashing people. I'm not bashing people. He is only, all his titles are meant to get a reaction. He uses a very famous name, for example, Michael J. White, who is an absolute warrior, by the way. And he is following Urban Combatives also, if it's the real one. It seems to be the real one, but you never know. Man. Yeah, and I really like him. You can say about him what you want, but this guy is legit. I mean, he trained with so many people. He understands martial arts. And okay, every context is different, but he's a legit martial artist. Try to look like him. Try to be as flexible as him and to have his knowledge, and also using this in the movies. It's impressive.
Oh yeah, sure.
You cannot slate him down as saying he's fake. It's incredible. And the same with Van Damme. If you bash Van Damme, fuck you, man. There's this one footage from an MMA fighter, and he gets by accident a kick in the head.
Oh, Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, dude. If Jean-Claude Van Damme kicks you in the face, you say, thank you, sir.
It was an honor.
It was an honor. And I will replace this tooth, no problem. I don't want money, but can we make a photo with my missing tooth, for example? That's in my book, right?
That's so the ultimate story. Like, I wouldn't mind if I was missing a tooth and say, well, what happened? It's like, well, Jean-Claude Van Damme kicked me. It's like, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's proud. I can be proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, then that guy, if you start to bash people like this, I mean, why? For me, it started with him. For me personally, I'm like, Jean-Claude Van Damme was.
Oh yeah, sure.
For me, it was like, I want to be like him.
Of course.
And so yeah, what can we say? It's too much negativity. Yeah, the fact that we have to do this already, it's already a shit thing to do, that we have to put this video out there to put him on his place, because that's what it is.
Yeah, no, but it is so crazy because, like I said, his narcissistic personality disorder is beyond extreme, because he went, and the reason why I befriended him, because he went from being a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan to being like, okay, I'm not that much of a fan, to being not a fan, to being a complete hater, where he actually put a comment where he tries to compare himself in every single way to Van Damme and say that he's better. He literally said, Van Damme doesn't have 5% what I do as far as kicking goes. He said, I'm more flexible. I have bigger legs. I'm smarter. I speak better languages. And then he also said, women think I look better. It's like, what? There's not one woman on the planet who isn't visually impaired that thinks, you know, AJ will look better than Van Damme. It's like that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? It's a typical narcissist. One day you're the biggest friend, and then the next day you're the biggest enemy. I mean, you live rent-free in his head already. So what I'm not going to do is, after this, because you can expect a reaction, I'm not doing that online stuff. Come to me and we show.
Yeah,
don't talk, just come to me and we solve it like man. And then don't act cool. It's fine with you. I will ignore it. I will not go watch his footage. I don't care what he's doing. But there's a consequence of your behavior, and if we bump into each other, you have to run, my friend. And that's it. What can I say? That he also make fun of me because I speak English in my teaching, but he forgets that I'm teaching all over the world now. I have an online platform.
Awesome.
It goes very well. USA people, they order my courses, stuff like this. So how can I do it in Dutch? I mean, they make fun of me because I'm speaking English, but I'm only teaching in the international seminar circuit. So what can I do?
Yeah, English is a universal language.
So I started my online platform and also said to myself, you know what, I'm going to do a couple of more years security, and then hopefully I can use that momentum to teach full time. And I'm teaching full time already, but really make money teaching abroad,
That's awesome.
every other weekend. Yeah, it's so cool to meet like-minded people, true warriors, only humble people, no ego, because ego gets crushed in our gym. I mean, we had people like that in seminars that they were really egotistic Krav Maga instructors, and then we took them and then we let them do the stress test. They were crushed. And then we teach their students, and on the end of that seminar, that student did super. And then the instructors, they were almost like military. They were so humbled. And that's a good thing, right? I mean, sometimes you need a little slap on the fingers.
That's the whole thing as a martial artist. Look, it's either you be humble or you get humbled. Like it's gonna happen either way. So you might as well just be humble from the outset, man. Just take the shortcut, because you're gonna be humbled anyway. Just take the shortcut, stay humble, keep the open mind, try to get better. It's all about improving yourself, being a better version of yourself than you were yesterday. That is what it's all about.
Yeah, and being a better version is you want to build people up because you understand to become a better version. But also for myself, if it would happen, for example, 5-6 years ago, I would drive to his house, throw a fucking brick to his window, and then even when the door was open, and beat the fuck out of him on this couch. But I became a better person. Because, first of all, it's not intelligent. It's driven by my ego. And what do I win with that? I mean, it's going to be the best moments of my life for a short period of time, but then afterwards you pay the price. It's not worth it, man.
Yeah, it's not worth it, man. It would be satisfying in the moment, but sure, it's not worth it. Not now. Have him sign a legal waiver, and then I guess humble him. That's the way to do it if he wants to do that.
If he wants it, because first of all, let's start first. I never had a problem with him. I never knew him.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Backing from day one. I'm like, why are you doing this? And to be honest, I'm very lucky that there's always keyboard warriors, right? There's always negative people, but it's only on my comment section on YouTube, for example, it's only 1%. The rest is so positive, and that is what driving me. If it would be only negative, then I just stop the content online and do what I do. But people that I teach and come in contact with, there's different countries I can go to visit now. I can stay at their place. There's a real brotherhood going on. There are hundreds, maybe thousands of students already sucked into this, and we build each other up. And I got feedback, and they used it for real, in a real fight altercation, from police officers to normal people. They avoided problems. I mean, that's my drive, to help people, to let them come home safe. Now I'm asking you, is this AJ individual doing the same for people? Who is he helping? It's only about him.
He needs to constantly feed his ego. He needs to kind of like fool people into believing he's like what he says he is. Hopefully for him, one of them will make like some comment on one of his videos. And I put some positive comments on his videos in the past, but they were never on videos where he was hating on people. They were on more of like, oh, here's a tutorial on a kick, So it's like, yeah, this is good stuff, man. Good tips. It's encourage him for putting out more positive content. Right?
Yeah.
But he needs more like, you're the greatest fighter and martial arts in the world. And if someone doesn't give that to him, then he'll talk shit about you, basically. Right? Which is why he's talking shit about me now. And I'm not just going to lie to him and say he's the best in the world. I honestly, a little while ago, I tried to, in a nice way, tell him, look, man, you're not as good as you think you are. I tried to say that as nice as I could. And I complimented like some of his taekwondo kicks and other stuff. But it's like, look, at the end of the day, you're not as good as you think, because he's going now saying that he could literally beat up Michael Jai White, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and me at the same time. The same time. Like, come on, man.
I mean, but if you react on this, then it's also your ego. And this guy, that's what he does. He puts you against the wall, and all of a sudden you have to react on it. And like,
you have to say something, man. Just as men. I know we're so much above him, but look, we're also men. And if we're being disrespected that bad, it's like, okay, there's a certain point where we have to say something, just because, look, we try to be above that. And in many ways we are, but we are men at the end of the day. And it's like, if you're going to talk that much shit about us, it's like, well, either put up or shut up, basically.
Yeah. Show it then. Come. That's why I'm inviting him. Come to my place, please. Do it. Let
God,
us
I
know.
would that video would be. I would honestly look forward to that as much as if they did a true sequel to Bloodsport. That's how much I want to see that video.
Oh yeah. Hey, and I want that sequel, the Bloodsport 2. I
Sure.
need it.
Yeah,
Right?
we need that.
I was so disappointed when I saw the trailer and it was fan made. It was really nicely done, but I expected it in the beginning. Like, yes, there's going to be a second one. And I saw your footage and all that stuff about it, but it was like kind of disappointed that it didn't.
Yeah, it was disappointing, man. It's like, oh wait, they're not doing it. Oh dang, man.
Yeah, they got me in that one. Yeah. Yeah. So what can you say? I stay true to myself. I don't do anything bashing. If he wants me, he can find me every day. And yeah, I want to just enjoy your content, my friend. You do good.
Thanks, man.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And people, anybody watching, check out Michael's content for real self-defense stuff. It's good
Thanks,
stuff.
man. Much appreciated.